Hello friends, welcome to the video number 7 for the JavaScript series. And well, we are finally going to start talking about variables. And there is a lot of material to cover in variables, so this is going to take at least 2 videos. Well, I'm going to try to make everything fit in 2 videos, not more than that. But well, again, there is a lot of material to cover, so let's get started. First of all, what's a variable? Well, a variable is a container. Let's think of it as a container where we can store data. Uh, in a couple of tutorials after variables, actually, we're gonna talk about different data types. But well, the variable or a variable is a container where I'm gonna be able to store some data uh, to use it however I need. And well, in JavaScript, we we don't really need. And well, actually, I'm gonna take out this var in this declaration right here. I'm gonna save this and run it, launch it in Chrome. And well, I still get my result. I get 10 displayed. But again, let's make a good habit of this, especially if later you want to move on to a different programming language. There are several programming languages that demand that you declare or let the programming language know that you are declaring a variable, right? So in JavaScript, the way of doing that is by using this reserved word that is var, var. Um, so again, let's just get into the habit of declaring our variables. And well, to do that, we need this var reserved word. The next thing, let's call about the identifiers, or in other words, the name of our variables. How are we going to name our variables? Well, first of all, try to think about or in a name that is descriptive, that describes somehow what that variable is doing or what it is storing, right? For example, here I have x, y, and z, so these are not very good names for my variables. They serve for the purpose of the tutorials, but let's think, for example, well, for a moment right now, I'm doing here just a sum, right? Here I'm adding x plus y and storing that in C. So maybe, well, not maybe, I mean, I can think, of course, of a better name for my variable. Now, naming variables have certain rules. First of all, let's remember in the previous tutorial we talked about the reserved words. So again, I cannot use any one of those reserved words, about 60 reserved words in JavaScript. But for this example, well, I can think something very simple as first number. That would be probably a good name for the variable. And well, about the rules for naming, there are some rules for naming the variables. First of all, you gotta start the name of your variable with a letter. I think you can start with an underscore, but again, stay on the safe side and just start the name of your variable with a letter. And in the name, you can include, of course, letters, numbers, and underscores. You cannot do something like my first number. This is not gonna work, right? You cannot have spaces between the words. This is gonna confuse JavaScript. It's gonna give you an error. But for example, you can separate this again with underscores. This is basically just one single string of text. If I double click on it, you can see everything gets selected. So that would be a good name. Or instead of using underscore, for example, you can use what is known as the camel casing. Whoops. So for those though that are not familiar with camel casing, it's known as, I mean, with that name because the first letter of each word or consecutive word is set in uppercase, so it kind of simulates again the humps of a camel. So that's where the name comes. I think this is called a lowercase or lower camel casing. By doing the first letter uppercase is known as the upper camel casing. So whatever it is you choose, you can do this. You can do again the underscores. Uh, Let me do something different. My number 01 is I mean the other name is probably better, but what I just want to integrate numbers with letters so that you can see that it works just fine. Um, Now again, however you decide to do it, just stick to that method and try to do it every time the same way, right? Try not to be mixing, sometimes using camel casing, sometimes using underscores. Just stick to one method and do it the same ways always. And again, just letters, and especially start your name with a letter, and numbers, and or underscores. Now, following this, let's do this, my number 2. Now, uh, well, no, let me change this first. My number 1, then my number 2, and I'm gonna leave this as C. Let's save this and run in Chrome, and well, everything works fine. Uh, if I select, for example, here my number 2, I can see, at least in Notepad++, I get my number 2 selected here as well. Well, it's not selected, but Notepad++ is showing me, okay, this variable that you selected here, you have it also in here. So this is a very good cue for me to know that, okay, everything is all right. If I do this, and then I select this, now just be careful. Let's save this, run it. Let me see it in Chrome. And I get, this is the paragraph P1. So what happened? Right now it's not working anymore. Well, what I wanted to show you here again is that JavaScript, or the names or identifiers in JavaScript, they are case sensitive, so they have to match, right? If you change just one letter of your variable to be uppercase or lowercase, then you are creating a complete new variable, and that can ruin your program. So just make sure that everything matches. One very simple technique is just copy, then get to the other one and paste it. So now you can be sure that everything matches, and well, it should be working. Well, of course, this better name would be sum, and well, of course, this should work, and it does. Well, the next thing, um, this equal sign. Let's talk a little bit about this equal sign. This is known as the assignment operator. So it works a little bit different than what we are used to in math. Um, and also another thing, we can think of it to like, let's try to compare two things. So that's a different thing. We're gonna talk about it later. That would be a comparison operator, which is a double equal sign. So when we have just a single equal sign, this is called, again, the assignment operator. So what it does, okay, here we're saying, okay, I'm going to declare a variable. The name of this variable is going to be my number 1. And you are going to do JavaScript. I mean, JavaScript, let's assign whatever it is that I placed on the right side of this equal sign. Right? So it's going to take this number. In this case, I'm placing a number 7, and it's going to assign it or store it in this variable that I named my number 01. The same thing here, and well, I'm gonna get a little bit ahead. I mean, I'm watching my notes. As you can see here, this is, again, this is not a number, right? This is what is called an expression. I have a sum right here. I'm adding these two numbers. In the end, it's gonna get evaluated and it's going to assign the value that this expression evaluates to, and it's going to assign it into this variable that I called sum. Alright, so we have reached 10 minutes, so let's stop the video right here and let's continue on the part number 2. So please give it a like to the video, remember to subscribe to the channel, and well, I see you on part number 2, video number 8.